Yeah. Sonozaki Group's offices had turned into a shelter for the local residents. We could see the townsfolk lying down here and there, huddled under blankets. You could say that the Sonozaki Group is this region, after all. Under my mom's orders, we've been taking in people with nowhere else to go since the chaos started. What do you mean, people with nowhere to go? She means people just like Une-chan, those that came here for work or visit for pleasure. There are a lot of people from outside of Okonomiya that got caught up in this mess. The watch went after those with nowhere else to go first. We could have fought against them, but Akane ordered us to avoid that. So after securing as many people as they could, they built up their surrounding with those barricades to limit their contact with the watch and prevent any further trouble. To the watch, all outsiders weren't affected. They knew so many outsiders were being sheltered here, there would be big trouble. Is this place safe? I can guarantee it's the safest place in Okonomiya. The community center was the main shelter at first, but that place has collapsed. So this is what's left. Collapsed? You know what they say about too many cooks. What started as just fighting over leadership led to murder. It's terrifying. Of course. I see. Oh, I forgot to grab my chopsticks for my food. Great. Oh, yeah. Yes, I do have some sushi to eat here. I see the leadership here is solid. So you're managed to establish order and keep people from handing their hearts over to the demons. Impressive. So are the police and such still operating then? They're scattered across the city responding to riots. And there are lies going around that they're harboring infected. Of course. This situation is beyond anything the police were prepared for. There's no way they could handle it. As said, you were brave out there, Tomike. Where did you get such a wonderful gun? Well, I just happened to pick it up. Guy from the security office. You know, that's not one amateurs could handle. You're a man of many mysteries. Rika? Rika? What's the matter, huh? Rika's not here. Une-chan's gone too. Of course. Thought I saw those two talking over there just moments ago. What do you mean, Hanyu? What's your issue with this girl? Quiet. I'm speaking to her right now. Uh-oh. What are you saying? Who on earth is this Une girl? The sound of a tuning fork echoed in Rika's head. The tone gradually changed, almost like it was being well tuned. Rika understood. This was a conversation between inhuman beings. It was like they were using a radio. They were searching for the right wavelength to allow mutual conversation, which meant this Une girl had to be. This is Hanyu, leader of the Horn people. Who are you? That was when both tones began to resonate. A bright light enveloped everything. The moment that light cleared away, Rika, Hanyu, and Inu were floating in the world of inhuman beings. The eyes of the young girl named Una occasionally took on the same light that dwelled within Hanyu's. I was certain this girl was someone like me and Hanyu, some inhuman being. Hanyu stared long into Une's eyes, waiting for her response. There we go. I am Une. I am afraid. There's nothing to fear. We have no intention of fighting anyone. What people do you come from? What followed in response wasn't words, but something conducted through telepathy. Various images were particularly forced into Rika's head, like she was being compelled to daydream. The ocean of stars and space, her blue earth shining in the distance. Apparently, Une was something that had only recently arrived on Earth. She had finally arrived in this land after a long journey, just as Hanyu's people had. So that's the case. After your long journey, you finally. I was frozen in that pitch black ocean, and I finally reached this land. Yet, Rika finally realized it. She was terrified. She had finally arrived here, and now she was anxious as to whether she could live safely or not. It wasn't unreasonable. From her perspective as an inhuman being, it was far too dangerous in Okonomiya with the current uproar. The people turned ferocious by N173 were killing each other in a sight out of hell. It was far too sad for her to receive such a welcome. They're finally reaching this land after her long frozen journey through space. Hanyu then followed up by sending Yume images of what she knew. For a while, Rika's head was floated with both of their passing images, her mind like a television screen flickering between channels. Then they finally understood each other's upbringing, circumstances, and present situation. Rika was also able to convert those concepts into human words and understand it vaguely. First off, she understood that Une was the same as Hanyu and Tamaru, an inhuman being. She was one of the inhuman people from space who lived within humans just as humans lived on Earth. She reached this planet just the other day. However, that was according to said inhuman being's perceptive of time, so it might have been several years. Her body had finally acclimated to Earth and she had just regained self-awareness. She was more of a seed as she drifted through space, and only regained her self-awareness after taking root here on Earth and finally budding. Rika also understood the special nature of Une's people. Special nature of Hanyu's horn people drove people to paranoia when they grew unstable and caused their hearts to become possessed by those demons. That was a disadvantage for them when trying to coexist with humanity, and it was a problem both Hanyu, Tamaru, and the horn people recognized. That problem is also the aspect that Takano showed interest in. In Ue's case, her people carried no such disadvantage. They were much better adapted to coexisting with humanity than Hanyu's people were. So unlike you, they're the type that Tamara would have welcomed. There's no way Tamara Himenomiko would welcome any new arrivals. To her, both Unea and I are equally terrifying invaders. Une's people possess strength nearly equal to Hanyu's. Strength. The image that's pouring into my head is the strength of a plant's roots. Fragile flowers that bloom beautifully in a flower garden will sometimes be overtaken by wildflowers with powerful roots. It's that same strength. In Hanyu's world, their people were better described with the concept of plants than animals. Yes, even in the world of plants, there was survival of the fittest. Hanyu and Une had very strong power to survive. Their peoples were were handy species with strong roots. We're hardly species with strong roots. Wow, can't speak. So what about Tamara's people? The ones that view you as an enemy. Her people are much weaker than mine. However, they're that's not one's fault, nor is it fate. It's just the special nature we were born with. To these inhuman beings, the earth was a big flower bed. Of course it is. Wasabi all over my soy sauce. Great. There. Places now where I can deal with the soy sauce. uh, they were all trying to sow their seeds and allow their species to flourish. In the past, tomorrow's people were the only flowers blooming in the flower bed of Earth, of course. Okay, I can taste that heat already. Damn. Then Hanyu species showed up. With their strong reproductive ability, they quickly dried up Tanyu's people and increased their population. So, of course, for Tamaru Hime no Mikoto's perspective, they were invaders. On top of that, Hanyu species poses the risk of destroying the flower bed. They grew unstable. Nothing could survive if the flower bed was destroyed. So that's why Hanyu's people agreed to confine themselves to Himanazawa, the flower bed best suited for them, until they were able to gain the power to coexist with their flower bed. Yet now, this Une, a species with the same amount of strength, has once again entered the flower bed. Unfortunately, Une's people will not harm. Well, fortunately, Une's people will not harm the flower bed. However, they possess the strength to easily wipe out tomorrow's people. We have no such intentions. We just want a little bit of land for ourselves. I understand how you feel. I support you in this as well. As one who has also crossed the ocean of stars. In that case, she's just arrived at the worst possible time. It's hard to imagine tomorrow welcoming their species, with Hanyu's people running rampant like they are now. I am scared. We simply want to bloom quietly in peace. Is there no land beyond tomorrow's reach? Nearly all the land of Japan belongs to tomorrow's people. Even if she were to leave Japan, there are other peoples living in those lands too. So the Earth is like a full apartment complex with no vacancies. But I believe Tomorrow Hironomiko's people are claiming too much. We must respect those who lived here before us, but they should share the land. Tomorrow is a bully for monopolizing it all. Why don't you just go all Sengoku era and compete for the land? Survival of the fittest is the law of nature, right? Because that would lead to something terrible. Our flower bed and this very planet would meet their end. Not you mentioned you and Une are about equally strong, right? What would happen if you fought? I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight either, and there's no point in fighting her anyway, because our strength is equal. Meaning what? In our case, the flower bed would go to the fastest one. I don't want to fight. So you're saying that the people of Himazawa can't be infected by Une, right? That's right. And likewise, the humans with Une's parasites can't come down with Himazawa syndrome. That would be correct. Boom. Think I might have figured out how to identify aliens. Anyway, something's nagging at me. This means... Hanyu, what were we doing again? Huh? She should head on tofu or something? We can't allow Takano to run wild, right? She's trying to spread N173 throughout the world. So our goal is to stop that, right? Yes, it is. But what about it? You're an idiot, a huge idiot. Can't believe it. It's two birds with one stone. Don't really understand you. We just need to forget about tomorrow and help this girl live freely on our planet. I mean, the humans possessed by tomorrow's people can be taken over by Une, right? And the people Une's taken over can't be taken over by your people. The pair of stupid aliens both tilted their heads in confusion. Easy put Une's people in Himazawa. It makes sense. Now all the pieces are in place. I know the identity of Takano's devil. This is all we have to do. So we just need to get Une into the people of Japan faster than Takano. Once we do that, no one will become infected, even if Takano spreads in 173 everywhere. Well, I would feel kind of bad about clearing tomorrow's people out, so why don't we stick to just the prefecture so we can block Takano in? There's 47 different prefectures, so Tomohime no Miko can spare at least one. Once we've surrounded Takano with Une, she won't be able to spread the infection any further. We'll seal off the spread of N173 and be able to prevent further damage. Now I get that development would prove fatal from Takano's perspective. Une has to be the true identity of the devil she spoke to Tomike about. That's the only thing that makes sense. Une and N173 are evenly matched. They can't beat each other. If we infect people with Une before they get N173, then we'll ruin all Takano's plans. So there you have it. Oh, that's an incredible idea, Rika. No shit. I kind of understand, maybe. This is an incredibly good idea. Une will get to live on our planet and we'll be able to prevent any more tragedy. Plus, we'll drive Tomaru out of this prefecture. So it's two birds with one stone. If Une occupies the entire prefecture, then Tomaru's people will be driven out of here. That would mean we'll never see Takamo no Mikoto again unless we left the prefecture and we wouldn't have to listen to her complaints. For the first time in 1,000 years, we could strike a blow against the god who claimed all of Japan for herself and nagged us any time we set even a foot upon her land. Really, Hanyu? You're bouncing around. Hanyu was dancing with joy. She must be thoroughly at odds with Tamaru. Well, with such an arrogant attitude and condescending posturing, even Rika would want to strike her after only meeting her once. What should I do? There's nothing we can do about Okonomiya. After all, the city's already infected with N173. So you can't affect the people here, right? That's right. God damn it. In that case, what should we do? Well, According to Tameke, all means of transport out of the city have been cut off to prevent the spread of infection. Otherwise, we couldn't get Une out of N173's infected region. We would have to escape the city before Takano does, and spread Une's people. We should probably talk to Tamake and gain his support. Since Tamake knows about the parasitic neurovirus, he should understand our situation too. Even if he does reject the idea of spreading Une, the information could lead to the discovery of a new treatment or even a vaccine. Rika called Tamake over and explained the situation. Of course, gaining his understanding took until dawn. Yet even so, he ultimately understood. Interesting. Alright. We'll have to leave the decision up to Tokyo, but her existence is a, it's a huge deal. If Une-chan is willing to cooperate, then we can prepare comfortable accommodations for her as well. I wouldn't be opposed to being comfortable. Tomoke's an understanding man. I'm sure he'll treat you well, Une. I'm happy. Of course. The end of this tragedy is finally in our sights. Well, we can't claim that until we get Une outside of the city. But it's at least one problem solved, I suppose. The Sonozaki Group office was the safest and most tightly guarded place in Okonomiya. They had food, resources, weapons, everything. They had Tomoke's understanding and cooperation. They had Une's cooperation as well. In terms of chess, they were now a few moves away from checkmate. It was the perfect time for their opponent to give up. Unless the Joker, Takano, caused some kind of uproar. Plus, there's that obnoxious Tamuhara no Mika, whatever. She's not likely to welcome that what we're trying to do now. And of course, that was when they heard the ringing of a tuning fork, and bright white light enveloped both Rika and Hanyu. She's here. Tamaruhime no Miko to. Speak of the devil. How dare you, leader of the Horned People? Truly, you have been plotting to taint our land with your filthy shoes. We will welcome our new friend Une, yet that does not mean we will steal all of your land. Be quiet, tainted one. Know that we shall not permit your conspiracy to corrupt our land. Listen, there's this villain Takano, and she's planning to spread what you call the Horn People to all of Japan. No, the entire world. If she does, then your people will be exterminated. Getting angry at us isn't going to prevent that from happening. If you're willing to cede a bit of land to Une, then Une's people can live on this planet, and you won't lose any more land. Hanyu won't have to see your face ever again either. This can all be settled quietly between you three. Be quiet, child of man. Know that you are not permitted to use your tainted words. And there's the headache again. Stop using that headache power. She has always been stubborn and refuses to listen. Nothing you say will ever get through to her. You are the one who never listens. You tainted people, you horned people. My anger has not abated even after 1,000 years. I could say the same to you. I haven't lost any of my anger either for all of your harassment. I didn't know what kind of history those two shared, but if they held on to their grudges for a millennia, then the cause of their antagonism ran deep. Apparently, their history really isn't something humans who only live for around a century could moderate. Well, that's just how gods are. Humans worship them all on their own, and yet the gods themselves are more human than humans. There are plenty of myths in every country about gods arguing and fighting with each other. I don't care about the fight between you two. Tomorrow, no whatever. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. But this is the only way to stop the tragedy happening in the human world. You wouldn't understand anything I said anyway, foolish priestess of the Horn People. Know that I have no intention of exchanging words with a tainted priestess either. You're a god, okay, but you really tick me off. Maybe we shouldn't stop at one prefecture and just take Tamaya and Gifu while we're at it, too. I will not allow it. Know that I shall not allow you to corrupt the land of my people once more. There was a sound of glass shattering, followed by an angry bellowing roar. What happened? Considering the timing, it was obvious Tamaru had done something. Yet, Tamaru no Miko was a human being like Hanyu. She shouldn't be able to interfere with the world of man directly. Takano. Oh, shit. Hello, Jiro. Had faith you and I would meet again. Oh, great. Takano had broken through the window and flew into the office. The whole spectacle was as flashy as a scene from a movie, and the men were all taken back. Of course, even Tomoke couldn't avoid being dumbstruck. She was always unpredictable, but that was only in personality. She never had the physical ability to accomplish something like that. The men of the Sonozaki group understood she was hostile from the aggressive smile on her face. Yet, unlike with the rioters, they were unsure how to respond. Meanwhile, Takano was different. She understood exactly what she needed to be doing. Tomoke soon understood too. Her target was Une. If we spread Une's infection throughout Japan first, then N-173 will become useless. There won't be anything Takano can do then. But since she knew that from the start, she's targeting Une. Trying to uncover where she was hiding out in Okamiya was inefficient. But once the Sonozaki group started sheltering people, Takano realized something. She said the wait here and Une would come to her. I only have business with that girl Une. Could you bring her out for me by chance? I don't know what you're talking about. You don't need to play dumb. I've been watching you this whole time after all. Oh, great. I won't let you. We're going to contact Tokyo. Pardon me for interrupting. Welcome to Sonozaki Group's office, Mio-san. My, quite the procession. Shion appeared with an array of tough men in tow. It went without explanation that Takano was an uninvited guest. You're a tough woman, but I think you've gone too far now. I think you're about to understand just how strong I am. Takano grabbed one head each in both her right and left hands, slammed them against opposite walls. Where did such monster strength come from in that slender frame? No. Even someone huge couldn't have produced such strength. The physics of it were all wrong. Even if her slender frame did house monster strength, she couldn't have picked those big men up and thrown them so easily from that particular stance. Shion, Kazai, and the other men watched in shock, and all they could do was stare at Takano's otherworldly power. Shion, if you don't pay attention, then your head will get splattered everywhere. Huh? Shion's dumbstruck eyes met Takano's, and for once she cringed with fear. I couldn't blame her. When a human witnessed something beyond their understanding, they're completely unable to act until they can explain it. Takano's arms locked with huge bare paws to her. Before she could blink, those arms were swinging ferociously towards Shion. Look out. As Kazai shoved Shion out of the way, he grabbed Takano's swinging arm and used her own force to capture her arm behind her and shove her body to the floor. My. Oh, that frightening person. Where on earth did you tame such strength? Kazai, way to go. He got a good lock on her joints and pressed her into the ground. No matter how much strength she had, she shouldn't be able to struggle any longer. Takano wriggled in an effort to escape, but she just looked like a pathetic bug pinned on its back. You should cease your further resistance. Kazai's a scary man. If you struggle too much, he might break your arm. I won't do it unless it's necessary. But I'm no gentleman, so forgive me if it comes to that. Oh no, I really can't move. Oh great. With her joints locked so securely, it should hurt enough for her face to twist in pain. Yet Takano remained collected and seemed amused at her inability to move. Is this the full extent of the power you're granting me? It's not, is it? Oh great. Takano used her other arm, and with just that single arm lifted both herself and her grappler Kanzai. It was like we were watching some kind of circus performance. No, Takano's irregular monster strength allowed her, with just one arm, to lift both herself and Kanzai into the air. Even Kanzai couldn't avoid being shocked. In the next movement, he lost his hold on her, and she spun Kanzai like a blender, throwing him against the wall. You're having too much fun. Shion got behind Takano, pale blue sparks could be seen. She had driven her trump card, a stun gun, into Takano's body. No matter how strong you are, nobody can withstand electric jolts. Yet Takano just calmly turned around. My. What was that? What is that? Oh shit. That's impossible. Do you think a mere child would do such a thing to a priestess of a god? What a bad girl. Oh great. Takano's hand seized hold of Shion's face. Shion groaned and fought back, and we heard her skull grating. Her resistance like a baby's against Takano's vice-like grip. This is your punishment, okay? Oh no. The next moment, Shion's body was splawed out against the wall. For Shion, it was no different than her body being slammed into the ground. It felt like she had been thrown out of a second story and slammed onto the hard concrete ground. Then her body slid down and crumbled onto the floor with a groan. Yet, Takano was about to walk towards Shion again, looking for something else from her. Stop this now, Takano. I don't want to shoot you. Oh my, Jiro. That's a very interesting idea. I'm very curious to find out if a human weapon can injure me now. Oh, great. Takano gazed at Tomoke's submachine gun with amusement. Didn't seem like a uniquely Japanese scorn of using it was just a model gun either. She was truly smiling, keenly curious as to what would happen if she were shot by it. Tomoke failed to understand that too. Right now, Tomoko had to be gifted with some form of supernatural power. You made Takano your priestess, Tomohime no Mikoto. How could you be such a fool? Be quiet. Know that I shall not listen to you. I shall punish all peoples who dare to taint our sacred land. Know that your hindrance is useless. Prepare yourself. Une. I haven't done anything. Excellence. Know that all your corruption lies bare before my eyes. It was never my intention to... She said the same thing when I arrived here and tormented me badly. She's just a bully. Tamaru, no whatever. I hold no grudge against you, but I personally dislike your priestess. So sorry, but if you're choosing right, then we're choosing left. Priestess mine, the devil Une stands here. Now is the moment to slay her. So that's where you are, Une. Go, great. Takano looked at the wall. She could see Une's figure through it. Une also noticed she was being stared at and shuddered. Run, we can't stop her. Once Takano checked her right fist, she slowly pressed it into the wall. Crumble. Then cracks began to spread through the wall, radiating slowly out from her fist. What's happening? Tomoke said run, so run. Une-chan, hurry this way. Run? The cracks in the wall spread even deeper before their eyes, and they could hear the ground quaking. There was no room left for doubts. Takano was planning to smash right through the wall. Why does tomorrow's priestess have such incredible power when your priestess gets nothing? Rika, don't say that. If you say that, it's over. Rika, what are you doing? Run! Such a simple wall couldn't stop Takano. No, the priestess is Tomohime no Mikoto. She smashed through the wall so easily as crushing a sandcastle. I found you, Une. Oh, great. Une? Une slipped and fell, failing to escape. Takano wasn't foolish enough to let that chance slip by. She strode right in and seized Une by her collar. Now I got you. Yeah. Sorry, it was the perfectly misfortunate girl, Sakato. Did you think it was Une? Too bad for you. While she had kept her composure with a gun pointed at her, Takano's mind went blank for a moment after that. After Rika shared Une's secret with them, they prepared the ultimate trap to protect her. They had Sakato, who was close to her height, change into her clothes and take her place. Of course, the slip and fall was all a calculated move to draw Takano's eyes toward her. The shock of seeing her otherworldly power smash through the wall wasn't enough to overcome the thrill of trying to catch her in a trap. Sakato! And here's a present for our fool! Sakato took advantage of Takano's stupor to place something onto her head. It was a pair of white, fluffy bunny ears? Now, Hanyu. Here I go. Flash. What's the... bunny ears? And of course, we got Koi mode. Oh no. Huh? Hanyu had used her inhuman power to interfere with Tamara's own power for a moment, creating a break in the protection Takano received as her priestess. Of course, since Tamara was very powerful due to ruling over vast regions of land, Hanyu could only break her power for a moment. However, that moment was plenty. Taking you home. Yep. We're in a Koi mode. And you joined it too? Okay. Rena's heavy blow was concentrated on Takano's face, and Keiichi swept her feet in the opposite direction. Takano's body spun in the air and then slammed face down onto a mountain of rubble she created herself. She had Tamaru Hime no Mikoto's protection. Rena's attack wouldn't have left little more than the toying of a house cat. But in that one moment, she had reverted to the ordinary Takano, which meant that it was a finishing blow. Takano suffered a concussion and passed out. What's going on? Is Rena really human? She's in Koi mode. I'm surprised after witnessing Takano's supernatural power just a moment ago. Showed others could replace their shock with strange smiles. Of course, because they just witnessed a club member instantly beat her in her superhuman strength. Don't go saying I did nothing, okay? This was my strategy and I devised it all considering our situation, all of our club members' abilities. Oh, sis, you're here? I didn't notice. Can't believe she took down that monstrous version of Takano so effortlessly. Une, there's nothing to fear anymore. You can come out now. It's not scary anymore. They timidly emerged from the shadows where she hid, wearing Sakato's clothes. Normally, we wouldn't have been able to fool Tomohime no Miko's eyes with just a change of clothes. Takano was certainly able to see Une even through the wall with her divine power. Yet when Takano broke through the wall and saw her with her own eyes, her human perception took priority and she mistook Une for Sakato because of her clothes. That's why she fell for the club member's trap. My priestess, how could you? Takano's passed out. You can't lend her your power anymore. It's amusing that Japanese word for passing out is written as losing God. Tomoru may have been granting Takano powerful strength as her priestess, but she couldn't give her anything while she was unconscious. It's unfortunate for you. This wasn't our first or second time dealing with Takano. No, they dealt with her multiple times. This happened because you underestimated the power of my priestess. Now, Tamaruhime no Mikoto, you shall be silent for a while. You flash. Really? Yeah. You made scissor symbols with both her hands and placed them near her horns, causing a bright light to rush forth and banish the sight of Tomohime no Mikoto. Apparently, erasing the image of Tamara didn't mean defeating her, though. But I'm still grateful we won't have to see that annoying face for a while. Tamara let out a scream and a pose like a defeated Sentai villain before disappearing. Really referencing Sentai? Okay. Now, let's get Takano all tied up while we can. She was incredibly strong, too. We'll need to bind her with chains. I felt sorry for her. Takano was just a frail woman without Tamara's power. but her bonds were ridiculously secure. Well, that settles that. Is everything settled for us? It is. That means that mean old nuisance Tamara is gone now. Tomoke will take care of the rest, isn't that right? Is it true, Mion? Amazing, you have everything here. Well, there's nothing we Sonozaki can't get a hold of. What's going on? Apparently, there's a powerful radio here. Sounds like Tomoke can use it to make contact with the outside. It was the Sonozaki's illegally modified radio. According to Tomoke, it could send signals out without being affected by the radio interference. I'll test it to see if I can contact Tokyo. Une might be the savior we need after all. In order to use the neuroparasite as a weapon, it was essential to have a vaccine for it. So the strength of Une's roots would prove a powerful vaccine against the infection of N173 and most other viruses like it. Tokyo would definitely be interested in that. You're incredible, Tomoke-san. You can do anything. Well, I just studied it a bit as a hobby. That's the end of our grand adventure, I suppose. No, I hope so. I'm already exhausted. I can leave this town now? Yes, you can get out. Well, you'll probably be held prisoner for a while, though. But they can't do anything without your cooperation, so you'll be treated well, I think. Une, welcome to Earth. Let's both bloom together here on this planet. With Tamaru Hime no Mikoto as well, of course. I'm so happy. Thank you, Hanyu. uh, that's not the end of Outbreak. There's no way that's the end of Outbreak. Thought so. Early the next morning, Une and the others were in the school courtyard designated over the radio. Roughly 30 of the Sonozaki group's toughest men were surrounding them and glaring in all directions. A helicopter was approaching. Une was the only one being extracted. Take care. We've paid you back for saving us now. I hope you managed to save everyone with your body's secrets. Thank you for taking care of me. Une was forced to wear airtight clothes. All the JSDF men riding the helicopter were in them too. Bile suits. It's a slight shame how we're being left behind though. I'm sorry. The and one seven no, until we understand the cause of this illness, we can't be allowed to leave. So even though everything's settled with Une, we're still stuck in survival mode for now. Well, you'll be safe as long as you stay here. I think this strange illness will settle down over time. There's fewer of those crazy people already. Peace will soon return to the city. The riders who handed their hearts over to the demons continued to kill each other without getting tired of it. But like Kansai said, eventually they'll kill themselves off and things would quiet down. From what Tomoke heard over the radio, they were already preparing to send aid to Shishibone City, and food, water, and other necessities would be transported by air. Such an incredibly large uproar couldn't be wrapped up so easily. But they had but we had our light of hope. Une was the key. Thank you. Do your best out there. I'm happy to welcome you to this planet. I'm happy too. I'm super happy. Uh-oh. Une waved her hand from the helicopter flying away. The club members all waved endlessly back at her. Only Rika absolutely watched her go. She was pondering something she couldn't explain, and Une smiled as she left. Afterwards, she was transferred to Tokyo's facility, National Institute of Infectious Diseases. With disaster already reaching several 100,000 people, it was no longer possible to cover up the existence of Himezawa syndrome. The world was in an uproar over this mysterious virus capable of making humans randomly go violent. course, the secret research institutions of the major nations that knew about neuroparasites were paying attention to the progress of the current neuroparasite biohazard. They dispatched many researchers to help, because there was no guarantee it would remain solely Japan's problem once it reached that point. Samples of Une's cerebrospinal fluid were taken and transported to the most classified research labs of every nation. Yeah, my seeds have reached every corner of this blue flower bed. I'm happy. I'm super happy. Oh, great. Foolish leader of the Horn people. Tremble in fear at your sin of unleashing that terrifying corrupt people upon our world. It's already too late. You and Takano's evil plot is finished now. Tomorrow, Hime no Mikoto. If you have something to say, why not say it? What was it you were trying to achieve? Takano was your priestess, so Takano was following your orders and trying to accomplish some specific task. What was it? It's not even worth asking. She was bullying Une and trying to spread Himizawa syndrome everywhere to sow chaos. That doesn't make sense though, Hanyu. The syndrome is a tainted people to her, right? So why would Tomorrow have Takano spread them elsewhere? Huh? Tomoke said that Takano was going to defeat a devil and doing so save humanity. Then she started spreading N173. She's both trying to save humanity and trying to destroy it. These ghosts counteract each other, but I didn't pay any mind because I was sure it was just one of Takano's crazy delusions. But if it was all as Tomorrow ordered, then none of it was meaningless. Mere child man, let alone the priests of the foolish horn people, wouldn't understand even if I were to tell you. Ah, how foolish you are. Please don't look down on me. Unlike her, my head isn't filled with cream puffs. Oh, damn! Rika, I don't understand what you're getting at all. Tamara loves the horn people, so why would she try to spread them outside of Himizawa? It can't be. The horn people and these people had equally strong roots. On top of that, Tamara called Une a devil. And she told Takano that she would save humanity. You had Takano spread in 173, so Une couldn't spread herself. Yes, after all, just as those infected by Une couldn't be infected by N173. The reverse was also true. If you infected them with N173, they couldn't be infected by Une. But if she infected them with us, then those with weak minds will be in big trouble. There's no worry about that with Une, though. How do you know that? You're just convinced yourself that's the case after communicating with Une, right? In other words, you just accepted Une's claims without question, haven't you? Uh, I see. It appears the leader's foolishness has not affected her priestess. That means that you made a hard choice. You decided that handing over a portion of your land, the entirety of Shishibun City, to the tainted people was at least preferable to that. Isn't that right? Which means that you knew about Une, didn't you? Hers is a cursed race which brought forth great catastrophe upon her motherland. This is super fun. Of course. Une, it's been a while. Foolish Hanyu, know her true nature and tremble with terror at your sin. Turn even the Umikoto. You totally pulled a fast one on me. The moment I woke and tried to bloom, the flower bed around me was already filled with that fool's flowers. I'm sure she did get you good. This cream puff for brains is a useless weed, but her roots are strong enough that you couldn't beat them. You try to make your infection explode through the population, but since Takano had already spread in 173, you couldn't do that. I was at a total loss. But then a dumbass who believed my story just happened to show up. Yeah, of course, Hanyu. Even though her brain was an empty cream puff, lacking even in cream, she finally realized that she'd been tricked. Hanyu had believed that they understood everything about each other after her communication with Une. Hanyu had openly shared everything about herself because she was so simple. But that wasn't the case for Une. She cleverly hid her true nature in her terrifying plot to deceive Hanyu. Which means Tamura, Tamura, Tamurahime no Mikoto, you saw through her, didn't you? Know that the plot from the leader of such accursed people could never deceive my insight. Tamura had known what Une was after. Une's goal was to propagate, propagate herself throughout every corner of this blue planet's huge flower bed. She did that, then you would perish, huh? So you had to fight, just like you once fought Hanyu's people. Hanyu said Tamura had once was once mean to her, but that probably wasn't her just being mean. From Tamara's perspective, she was likely fighting to protect herself. Fortunately, they learned Hanyu's people couldn't live outside of Himazawa, so they managed to maintain 1,000 years of peace by avoiding each other. However, if new people that weren't bound to such a small area came here, I see. To you, she certainly would be a devil, and so you used Takano to stop her. But calling her a devil that destroy humanity is going too far. She might be a devil that would destroy you, but the humans don't know or care which parasites are living in their heads. Suppose that's the limit of understanding of the Horned People's priestess. Foolish. It's super too late now, you idiots. We're totally consuming this whole planet. Now awaken, my children, my seeds. Sink your roots into this world and bloom. Bloom and spread yourselves wide. Une spread her arms like she was spreading a pair of wings and issued her orders to all her children scattered throughout the whole world. The children of man couldn't quarantine Une's seed with their mere concept of disease prevention. The humans researching her across the world were already infected. America, Georgia State, Atlanta, America's Center for Disease Control and Prevention was the fortress on the front lines protecting humanity from viral infections and also the highest world authority on the subject. Yet in a secret ward, the Neuroparasite Research Division, they are researching her children. They are researching with the greatest precautions and most modern equipment, but the techniques of mere mortals were unable to stop the spread of the children of a god. That researcher first collapsed on a bus on his day off. People rushed to his aid one after another and collapsed as well until the driver also lost consciousness. Fortunately, the bus was already stopped, yet that wasn't a silver lining, because neither humanity nor any human beings possessed the means to stop the spread of Uni's children. The same thing happened in Severlock Oblast within the Russian Federation, right in. Oh, I can't even pronounce that. Secret Biological Weapon Research Center. Of course, it also happened in Japan's National Institute of Infectious Diseases within Shinjuku, Tokyo, as well as in other research centers in England, France, China, Korea, and other nations too. And then they traveled through the transportation technology that humanity had foolishly overdeveloped, spreading to all lands throughout the world. However, humanity lacked the means to notice it at all. Roughly 2 weeks after the initial spread of infection, when Une's children had spread throughout every corner of the globe, the first symptom developed: the infected. Though at this point, the infected and all humanity were symptoms, or simness. Then, then learned for the very first time that they were all infected with something unknown to them. People falling like flies. People were afflicted with intense drowsiness, and one after another they crumbled and fell asleep on the spot. They had become a seedbed. Once they finished consuming all the nutrients of their host, they broke out through the host's body, spread more seeds, and consumed all of humanity. Because the Une's people had no intention of coexisting with humanity at all. Once they had consumed their flower bed, they would travel through space once more in search of the next. An accursed people indeed. 7 weeks after the initial infection, humanity's population was reduced to 20% of its former size. Of course, even that 20% was being culled as well. Then they would once more return to space in search of an organism with a brain to host them. Afterwards, only the hosts of the Horned people who couldn't be infected by that accursed people would remain on Earth, which means that only those people in this region where Takano had infected with N173 and had not turned their hearts over to the demon managed to survive. There was far too few humans remaining to maintain civilized society, so eventually they too would perish completely. Super fun, super happy, super awesome, super duper, super. Une, consuming everything is my people's only entertainment, and I mean consuming an entire planet is super fun. Once my people have consumed them all, no one will be able to get in our way. When faced with me, the weak flowers on this planet are like sugar lumps before hot coffee. You sure done it now. You pretended to be weak so you could use us to advance your plans. Well done. Couldn't fool Tomohime no Mikoto. She was clever. Do not underestimate me. Know that I am the leader of the people ruling over this nation of Yamato. Yet that horned head and her priestess, you two were super easy to fool. When the god's a fool, so is the priestess. You two were both super dumb. When the god's incompetent, so is the priestess. You're a useless god with nothing useful to your name. No power, no supernatural power either. You are you're a super dumbo. Of course. What is this? She's ticking me off 5 times as much as Tamura. I really agree. It's really annoying to hear us called incompetent. Know that you are indeed incompetent. You are tainted people and now foolish people. You should hit your head on a steam bun and die. On a steam bun? Really? Well, I never knew that Une was going to destroy the world. It's not my fault. You know that all other races are enemies, yet you just handed it over to her. There is a limit to how stupid one can be. Uh, you could have just told us that, Tamara. So it's your fault, Tamara. Be quiet. I will not listen to you tainted people. This is super fun. Of course. Perish, you stupid gods of this blue flower bed. You're stupid humans. You're incompetent priestesses too. Une laughed loudly while Hanyu and Tamara insulted each other like children. It seems quite pathetic that this was a fight between gods who had brought about the extinction of humanity. Rika placed a hand on her forehead like she was enduring a headache, but her frustration was winning at that particular moment. Listen, I don't consider myself a human, and I don't care if our world is destroyed, but there's one thing I just can't forgive. The fact you looked at me, Rika Fude, who has overcome the mountain that has hundreds of deaths, and called me incompetent. The term incompetent is what you use for a man who goes off to a hot spring at a crucial moment. You intend to pose me, you a mere child of man? That's super funny. Rika pulled something out of nowhere that glinted with a silver light. What is that? Don't you know? It's a kitchen knife. Well, Rika's going to kill herself. Cooking tool. Perfect instrument for chopping up food and detestable people. I'm super laughing right now. How do you plan on finding me with a tool of mankind? Super funny. Super. From the perspective of humans, those inhuman beings were like a moon on the water's surface. Oh my gosh, now we're getting to the good points.